Yeah, there's another one of your things that you can't plan for, right? Paul Jefferson was, his name was Paul Jaquia, actually, and he was the engineer on a gig that I would do every year for St. Patrick's Day. All my buddies and I would go up Northern California, and we'd do an Irish St. Patty's Day gig. And we looked forward to it every year. It was really fun. Well, this one year, Paul Jefferson was handling the soundboard. Why, I don't know, but all of a sudden he had that gig. And as we finished up the night, he gives me this radio cassette that looked like it's been around the block a dozen times already. His name kind of penciled on the piece of paper that was left on the cassette, because it was like, it was ridiculous. And I'm thinking, well, he's a nice guy, I'll take it. And my buddy said, you know, this guy's a pretty good songwriter, you might like it. So I said, okay. So I took the cassette, put it in my bag, and went back to Southern California and started my world again. A year goes by. I stuck this cassette on my desk, and it was sitting there the whole time with several other, cassettes and stuff that I would have on my desk. And I kept thinking, I need to listen to that, Never did. 3 days before it's time to go back up, a year later, I pulled this cassette. I see this cassette, I went, oh shit, this kid's going to be there again, and I haven't listened to it. So I plug it in, and most of the songs weren't completely finished, but some really fantastic ideas and really strong. And he was a good singer. He wasn't a great singer, but he was a good singer. And I thought, this is really interesting. So I called him up right then, and I said, I'd like to fly up a day early, have lunch with you, coffee with you, see who you are, see what you want to do, check you out. And he said, cool. So I went up there and we did that. I really liked him. Did our show. And at the end of the next day, I said, I think I'd like to work with you. Let's spend a little bit of time together. I'm not going to sign anything with you, do any of that stuff right now. We'll spend some time. So I brought him down to Southern California, stayed at my house, and we started doing song demos. And we ended up probably doing about 70 demos before I thought we were ready to actually take this kid to Nashville. And so the moral of the story is, there's no one way to do it. This guy gives me a cassette that typically people would look at and go, what a horrible presentation. Nothing about it was right. He didn't even give it to me with confidence. It was like, you could throw it away if you want, but here, it's pretty much how I was. Paul's pretty good at that sort of thing. And it ended up being this kid goes on and he gets, I move him into this house, I buy the house, and I put him in it. And I'm going, this is where you're going to work. And that's what he started doing. And we started working, and I'd come up every month for a week or two at a time, and we'd work. And long story short, he ended up getting a record deal with Almo Sound, with Garth Fundus producing. He had 4 singles off that deal, 3 videos off that deal, all got in the top 30, 20, no hits, didn't get a hit off of it, but he did get a song he wrote, got to be a #1 song for Aaron Tippin, #1 for 2 weeks, which in the country world is big. It was on the charts for almost 30 weeks, and that's that airplay that as a songwriter and publisher, you really need that. And he's gone on to have a career. He wrote "You're Not My God" with Keith Urban on one of his albums, and he's been in a band called Hilljack, and that's a fantastic band. And now he's got a new duo with his wife Lisa Brokoff, and he may not have yet reached the pinnacle of his career yet. I don't think he has, but he went. He now has one, and this was, 1989, so just by handing me stuff that, and I took it. I guess it has to work both ways. I guess I had to take it. I wonder what would have happened or changed had I listened to it 3 days later instead of a year later. I wonder what would have happened. I'll never know that, but would love to, I like thinking about that thing. Would I have gotten him a different deal quicker? Would I even liked it? Would I have been ready to hear it? Don't know.